I have witnessed many strange occurrences in my village, but none as remarkable as the story of Aqua and her daughter Amma. Amma had just given birth to a beautiful baby boy, and the entire village was overjoyed. Women gathered around her hut, singing songs of praise and blessing the newborn. However, amid the celebrations, Amma carried a heavy heart. Her beloved mother, Aqua, had passed away just months before. It was a painful loss, made even harder by the absence of a mother's guidance during this crucial phase of her life. One afternoon, I went to visit Amma, bringing a pot of warm soup to help her recover. As I stepped inside, I noticed her smiling warmly, her eyes fixed on an empty corner of the room. "Thank you, Mother," she whispered, as if responding to someone. I glanced around in confusion. There was no one there. At first, I assumed it was exhaustion, the strain of childbirth playing tricks on her mind. But as the days went by, I began to notice something eerie, yet fascinating. Amma often spoke to someone who was unseen. She would nod, listen intently, and even chuckle as if sharing an inside joke. The strangest part, her actions weren't random. They were purposeful. She asked questions about feeding the baby, soothing his cries, and even about protecting him from the cold nights. One evening, as I was helping her put the baby to sleep, she suddenly looked up and smiled. "Mother is here," she said softly. A shiver ran down my spine. I saw nothing, heard nothing, but Amma's face glowed with the comfort of a daughter reunited with her mother. The night deepened, and we continued talking until Akan, Amma's husband, stepped into the room. The moment he entered, Amma froze. The warmth on her face faded, and she quickly busied herself with the baby. It was as if Aqua's presence had suddenly vanished. I found it strange, but chose to remain silent. Days turned into weeks, and Amma continued these mysterious conversations, always when she was alone or with me. The unseen helper, her mother's spirit, guided her through every step of motherhood. Yet, no one else ever experienced it. Then, one fateful night, something changed. As I prepared to leave, I noticed Amma staring at the same corner again, but this time she had tears in her eyes. "Mama says she must go," she murmured. "She says I am strong enough now." Amma's voice wavered with emotion. I watched as she hugged herself, as if embracing an invisible figure, whispering words of gratitude, and then silence. Unknown to her, the husband has returned home early after being sacked from work. Amma's life turned into a nightmare. What seems to be occasional disagreements now became unbearable. He would lash out at her over the slightest issues, and no matter what she did, it was never enough. She tried to endure, but each passing day, the tension in their home thickened like a storm brewing in the distance. One night, after yet another heated argument, she ran into the streets with tears streaming down her face. She wandered aimlessly until she found herself at an abandoned park, sitting on a bench, sobbing. That was when she heard it, a soft voice calling her name. Amma turned sharply, but there was no one. Her heart pounded, fear crawling up her spine. "Who's there?" she whispered, scanning the darkness. A cool breeze brushed past her, and suddenly a figure emerged, a woman, radiant and calm. Her presence sent a strange peace over Amma. "I am here to help you," the woman said. From that night on, Amma's life changed. The mysterious woman, who called herself Nkem, appeared to her often, giving her comfort and guidance. She said "Mother" again, now in human form. She queried. Nkem would warn Amma about Akan's moods, tell her when it was best to stay away, and even whisper words that calmed him down during his rages. Amma didn't know whether to be afraid or grateful, but as time passed, she relied more on Nkem's help. One evening, Akan stormed into the house in a drunken fury. "You think you can control me?" he roared, pushing Amma against the wall. But before he could strike her, the room went ice cold and the lights flickered. Akan's hand froze mid-air, his body trembling. What is this?" he stammered. A chilling whisper echoed through the room. "You will not harm her again." Akan staggered back, his eyes darting around the room, but there was no one. Amma, too, was terrified. She had never seen Nkem interfere so forcefully. That night, Akan barely spoke. He kept looking over his shoulder like someone was watching him. Determined to uncover the truth, he followed Amma the next day, watching from a distance as she sat at the park, speaking to thin air. His blood ran cold. Was his wife talking to a spirit? That night, he confronted her. "Who have you been talking to?" he demanded. Amma hesitated. "She's my helper," she said carefully. Akan's face darkened. "Helper? Or a ghost?" His voice shook with rage and fear. "You brought a spirit into this house." "It's not like that," Amma pleaded, but Akan wouldn't listen. "You are leaving my house tonight," he declared. Tears burned Amma's eyes. The one person who had protected her, the one who had given her peace, had now become the reason for her being cast out. She packed her things, her heart aching. As she stepped out of the house, a final whisper brushed against her ears. "This is not the end, Amma. You will find your peace." Just as she turned the corner, Akan heard a sharp knock at the door. When he opened it, the coldest gust of wind swept through the house, and a shadowy figure stood in the doorway. His heart nearly stopped. "Why did you send her away?" the voice asked. Akan's scream shattered the night. Now, being afraid that something sinister might happen to him or his only child, summoned elders in the village for reconciliation. This move yielded a positive result, and they both lived happily after. From thenceforward, she never spoke to her mother again. It was as if Aqua had truly moved on, satisfied that her daughter no longer needed her guidance. Even now, as I look back on those events, I am filled with wonder. Do spirits have emotions? Can love transcend even death? The unseen helper, as I have come to call Aqua, remains a mystery. But her love, her presence, and her unwavering support in her daughter's time of need will never be forgotten. Moral lessons. A mother's love never truly fades. Even beyond the grave, a mother's love can find a way to comfort and guide her child. The unseen world may be closer than we think. Sometimes love is strong enough to cross between the physical and spiritual realms. Strength comes with time. Amma thought she needed her mother forever, but Aqua knew when to let go, teaching us that we must learn to stand on our own. Not all mysteries need explanations. Some experiences are meant to be felt rather than understood. Please like and